One more story for you this hour, and it's a fascinating story because Europe's Solar Orbiter probe will make its first close pass of the Sun today. It'll track by at a distance of just over 77 million kilometres. Let's speak to Professor Chris Owen. He's from UCL Millard Space Science Laboratory. Chris, thanks for being with us. How exciting, how nerve-wracking is it for you today?
Actually, it's one of the better days. We've had some pretty nerve-wracking days over the last few months. First with the launch, and then trying to get all our instruments up and running in the face of coronavirus and all the delays that's put there. But yes, it's actually a landmark day for two reasons. One, it's the first close pass on this orbit. And second, we've reached the end of the near-Earth checkout phase, which actually has turned out has been not so near-Earth checkout phase of all the instruments. So today we're up and running on what's called the cruise phase and getting into doing some science operations for the first time.
And am I right in saying that you're trying to control some of the instruments on board from there at home? Is that right?
That's right. It's I mean, we were shut out in the early weeks of the coronavirus from the operations centre in Darmstadt in Germany. And then we got up and running with the team at home. So I have actually been, maybe my claim to fame at the end of all this will be that I've been commanding instruments on a spacecraft the other side of Venus from a room that was, until a few months ago, my son's nursery.
Isn't that staggering? Now, in terms of what you hope to learn, we had those amazing pictures from a telescope in Hawaii back in January. We have those on our screens now. Tell me more about what you hope this pass, this close, will actually tell you.
Okay, so we have, as I say, we're turning on for the first time today most of the instruments, certainly the instruments that sample the solar wind. That's the gas that's streaming out from the sun that affects the near-Earth space environment. We're making measurements of that routinely as of today. But next week we have the other set of instruments that are on the spacecraft, what we call the remote sensing telescopes. These are instruments that look at the sun itself and measure the properties in various wavelengths. They'll be coming on as well and taking their first set of coordinated measurements. So we get that first key thing for our science, which is the joined up nature of the mission, where we see what the sun is doing, we see the source of the solar wind, and then later on we sniff it, if you like, coming past the spacecraft. We sample the properties of the magnetic fields and the gases that come out past it. And the key thing is to understand that connection and to establish how the sun works through seeing both ends of that operation, what's happening on the sun and what's happening out in space.
Well, Chris, we have run out of time, but I know you have an even closer pass in 2021. Good luck with the rest of today and operating all of that from home. Thanks so much for talking to us. I'm back in half an hour. Next up, it's time for Focus on Africa. See you in a bit.